Oh shit, your boy got real internet, man. So I'm back.
Jesus Christ. I've never seen you this clear, and I don't think I want to.
It's
Please
not good.
go back to your house.
There's a reason why I keep it so pixelated. It hides the ugly. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, brother. But yeah, man, your boy had to stay at a hotel tonight. Wifey was like, "Why don't you just do a podcast?" From there, I was like, "That's a fucking great idea." So that's what we had to do, man. So on today's show, this is episode 182. John, did we hit 100 episodes together?
I think so. I think I started at around late 70s, maybe 80, 81. So I think we're right around 100. I'll have to go back and check.
Yeah, we're right
at
around
the century
100.
mark.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about coworker anxiety. Little thing I wanted to talk about today and see what your thoughts are on it. You had a couple rants you wanted to go over, getting quoted some crazy prices on an estimate. Yeah. And then some other stuff that I actually found interesting. I'm glad we don't touch on stuff like that before text. Then it feels like when we have the conversation again, it feels repetitive. You don't say as much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's true. It's just what it is. Like I said everything already. And then we'll talk about Yellowstone, a new show that I started, because I like having so many options where you could just binge around.
I thought you were talking about your trip to Yellowstone. Okay.
No, so that's coming up though, for sure. But for right now, check out this intro produced by Ant House Beats. Yo, what are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway. ¿Es el major?
Pues con eso.
Pues con español. ¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast. But yeah, man, we back. So what's going on, my brother? How crazy is it that there's zero lag on this conversation?
This is incredible.
Thank you. Just
not you, just the clarity.
Okay, a little disrespectful, but that's fine.
That's clarity. I hope that I hope your wife watches this. If she's not watching live right now,
right,
and maybe she realizes, you know what? I don't think we need chickens laying 4 or 5 eggs a day. I think we can do without that and buy our eggs at the supermarket. I'll go to I'll go to Publix, get my eggs, and we'll go back to civilization and get a place close to the city.
Dude, I didn't realize, like, obviously you realize it all the time, right? Because we have like real internet. But this is the first time that we've done one with like civilian first world internet, not rural backwoods internet. And the lack of lag and just how smooth it is fucking crazy. Like, this is what StreamYard is supposed to be like every time we use it. So it's just been an issue on my part. But yeah, man, it feels good to be able to do it this way. And thank you for like last minute jumping on. I know you got family time and shit like that, but I was like, yo, man, I got real internet, son. Let's fucking make this happen.
Hear you.
Stop whatever the fuck you're doing.
We might do a second one.
Yeah, no, there's that chance, right? When you realize how good it is, like, we got to take advantage of this shit.
Yeah, we might do a second one. I told you I'm going to forego my workout because I'm not feeling like working out today. Just I feel drained. Right. So it might just this might bleed into a second podcast if we have time.
Yeah, not for sure. I wanted to tell you something. I got this is on a little side note before we get into our next topic. I got into a little back and forth yesterday with a dude on Twitter that I hadn't done in a while. You know, it's just like it kind of like, I guess he must have like watched our last podcast where we talked about like the vaccine stuff and that whole argument. So I went back and forth with a dude that like some dude on Twitter. I don't have it, like, I'm not gonna put his name out there. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, he has more followers than I do, so it is what it is. But he talked like he knew more than everybody, right?
Okay.
And I was like, bro, that's crazy. Like, you should be like super famous then. Like, why you should be out there on CNN, Fox News? Like, because like he was serious. Like, he was serious because he's like passionate about it, and I respect people who are passionate in their beliefs. You know what I mean? I have no problem with that. I was just trolling. You know what I mean? Where I was like, one guy.
Those people are called zealots.
Yeah,
some might be called zealots, just in case.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely on that side of it. And he's like, and we're from the same country, right? Like, that's how we became like followers of each other.
Okay,
like, we're both Canes fans, and we're both from Panama.
Okay,
so it just shows that the diversity of thought in that. But it was interesting, like just having that back and forth. Where like at the beginning, I was like, all right, whatever. But then somewhere in the middle, I was like, this is stupid, bro. Like, why am I doing this back and forth? So I just started trolling, and like one guy at the end goes, yeah, he's a doctor just like Bill and Melinda Gates are. I was like, so we're agreed. Neither of them are doctors, then, right?
Right.
So we're agreed that he's also not a doctor. So he has no, because he did some research and some links. It was just so crazy. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I can't let that happen. Like I can't get back into that. It was almost like I dipped my toes back into the addiction of
Don't do it.
political argument. I was like, I'm not doing that again. Dude ended up sending me like a bunch of DMs. There was no beef, you know what I mean? There was no name calling, even though he did call me dense. I was like, all right, whatever. Just like a lot of projection.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't call him. Yeah, I didn't call him any names because there was no need for it. You know what I mean? Because it's just, to me, it was entertaining. To him, it was passion, which is a little scary. But he sent me a bunch of stuff. I was like, yeah, man, dude. And I told him, I was like, I don't care. Like, my energy left 25 minutes ago, and I wasn't even like passionate. Or I was just fucking with you, but like I didn't care, and it was just weird. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. So I still follow him because like I like to see that side of it. But
why don't you log on, like go on to like the New England Journal of Medicine, or go to, I have the NCBI, it's called the PubMed Central, from
because it doesn't
NCBI,
matter.
and just give them links to actually peer-reviewed studies, like actual scientific journals.
No, it doesn't matter. John, he knew everything. He's like, bro, I wish I could tell you how I know all these things.
Hey, but I can't tell you because then this YouTube university is gonna get shut down.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, oh, okay, bro, gotcha. All right. I was like, as soon as he said that, as soon as he kept restating that, I was like, all right, cool. I've seen all I've seen all I need to see here. I'm done.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't fall into that rabbit hole of like, I'm gonna have to shut down all my social media accounts. I can't deal with this anymore.
No, definitely not.
Then I went stress.
Then I went back to like just following fellow podcasters, and actually had a good back and forth with Two Nerdy Podcast or Two Nerds Podcast. He was having, or they were having like a mental health issue. You know what I mean? Where they were like, yo, man, like this is getting too much for me. Because there is a lot of pressure when you're trying to promote yourself. There's a lot of like unintentional consequences, I guess is the way I want to say it. Or like you have to like we talk about it, right? Like you have to constantly tweet, constantly post, constantly do this, where that almost becomes like a job. When you have a job already, it can become overwhelming, right? And then like you start seeing other people posting like, oh, how many downloads they have, and you start comparing yourself. It becomes a beast, right? It becomes a beast. So I was like, listen, man, like don't ever let this shit. I was like, yo, don't ever let this shit get to you. You know me, man. I'm a proponent of mental health at all times. I tell everybody to get therapy. It's not some fucking stigma, not some dark shit.
I've gone to a psychologist, self-referred.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing, dude. Like I'll never be like, oh, somebody should be the champion of therapy. Like, nah, man. If there's some things you need to talk about with a mental health professional. That like talking to your friends is like we could listen, but there's sometimes you need to talk to somebody who's completely away from the entire situation, who doesn't have an opinion based on self-interest through no fault of their own.
Yeah, what you told them was important, right? Because it's similar to what I like remind myself sometimes, and what I've told Javi, and what I told my oldest son also, Tony. But recently, Javi, he's running track, and he had shin splints. So for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, he just, before the season started, the lead up to the season, he couldn't really train. He was like on the bike a lot just to stay active, but he couldn't do any sprints, any workouts, any runs. He couldn't get time on his feet. So he would like naturally be disappointed and stuff. And I'm like, look, don't compare yourself to anybody. Even if you did have all that time to train and get to, have a month just like everyone else to condition. Like you're not competing. I mean, yeah, I get it. You're on the track competing against other people, but everyone starts at different levels. You got to compare yourself to you. And today, I believe, was the last meet of the year, unless because they made one up from last week. I don't think there's anything else left on the schedule. And I was like, look, I mean, you started the season at one point, and today you ran your fastest time. Like as the season went on, you progressed, and you cut down your time by a whole lot. And like that's something you should be proud of. Like you didn't have the conditioning that you could have had, and yet you still made progress, and you still move forward, And now we have the entire summer to continue getting to that shape. And then next year, I'm gonna buy the treadmill. I didn't buy the
Yep.
treadmill this winter. He's been like telling me, hey, let's get this treadmill, let's do this. And I should have too, because I'm a runner and I
Right.
take the fall, most of the fall and all of the winter off because I'm not running in -5 degrees out here when it's
Who the
snowing and
fuck? Who the
all
fuck
that.
would?
Yeah. Ask El Tiburon. He's like, you're just not gonna run because it gets a little uncomfortable. I'm like, okay,
He
negative
lives in
five
Miami, right?
degrees is just a
He
little
lives in
uncomfortable.
Miami.
I'm like, that's where you're from, right? Miami, where we both grew
Yeah.
up running in Miami. All right, all
Yeah.
right. But
It's very
yeah,
easy to say shit like that.
yeah. So but yeah, like it's at the same time you have to I had to give him some encouragement. So I'm like, hey, you're doing great. Like you're improving,
Mm-hmm.
and don't compare yourself to these other kids that have been running track, that were in track club before they even joined the team at school. Like do the best you can and keep pushing yourself, and then just try to find an improvement. So like your friend, the guy you're having a back and forth with the podcast,
Yep.
it's like you got to block all that noise out. Just focus
Yeah.
on what you can control. And even then, we don't have that much control for a lot of things, even though we do.
No.
It's we
I
put too much
told
stress on ourselves, man.
Yeah, I told him to rewire his brain, like stop focusing. I tell myself this all the time, right? And I tell when I have like when my wife is is struggling with like growing the business and stuff like that. I was like, look, like Elon fucking Jeff Bezos wasn't Jeff Bezos in a fucking day. Like that you gotta keep working at it. Like you have to
Right.
promote. And again, this is something I tell myself and you tell me, right? Like you have to promote, you have to do all these things, but you should never do it to the point where like it causes any kind of mental exhaustion or issues like that, right? Like you can
Right.
only do as much as you can post within reason and stuff like that. And yeah, you have to be careful what you tell yourselves, right? Like I think we always talk about the book, like the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to get out of that feedback loop, right? You have
Yeah.
to tell you, and it's not like I'm not giving you mental health advice or anything. It's just like I'm telling you what's worked for me. Like I'm not telling a random 21-year-old that eats healthy, you know what I mean, and does shit like that, like what to do with their life. I'm just saying
that exercises and is healthy. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It isn't around anybody else. But like I'm just saying, like works like, and these are things that I constantly struggle with, right? Like I struggle with my weight, so I try not to like if I do eat bad, I try not to fucking then negatively talk myself like, oh, I should have, I shouldn't eat that. What the fuck is wrong with me yet? And
Right.
when I do that, I catch myself. You know what I mean? So it's just like just trying to find that balance, which is very easy to tell somebody when you struggle with it yourself. But I think my goal when I talk to people, when I interact with them through like our Twitter page and shit like that, is just to show them like, look, man, there's other people that are struggling too. This mental health shit and these issues and this like, oh, I want to be better than them. Why are they so much better than me? That's something that we all struggle with, right? Like you're not alone in that shit. So don't ever feel like you can ask for help. I actually applauded him for like because it was a long post of what he was talking about. You know what I mean? He had a lot to say. So I appreciated them taking the time out to say it. So I was cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, like when you get caught up in that, right? Like you forget that a lot of people are going through their own issues,
Yep.
and you're just focused on like, I'm messing up, I can't get this right, and for whatever reason, when we're going through what we're going through, we forget that other people are going through the
Mm-hmm.
same thing or something similar with their own set of circumstances, but we block that shit out, and we just like, look, man. When I was a recruiter, I like year and a half in, I ended up self-referring to a psychologist. I was like, look, man, I'm putting too much stress on myself. I couldn't sleep. I was staying up to 3:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, waking up at 5:36 to go do PT and then go recruit. I was drained and I was like that for like 8 months. I
Right.
don't know how I survived and I didn't fall asleep at the wheel and shit.
Yep.
And I ended up going to a psychologist and we worked through some like visualization, relaxation techniques, practicing all this stuff because I was putting all this like I had these high standards or expectations that I needed to put this many people in, and there's quotas, right?
Right.
And I just had all this stress, like I got to put this many people in, and if I don't do this, and if I don't compete with this guy who's been putting in like 5 people a month or 4 people, even though our quota is like 2 people a month, then
Yeah.
I was driving myself insane. And I just had to like talking to someone else, like I fortunately had like the wherewithal to just realize, hey, you've been doing all that you can. You've been eating healthy. You've been exercising. Whatever you're doing is not working. I need a third. I need like a third party, disinterested third party, a second set of eyes to
Yes.
say, "Hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's try something different because your approach isn't working." And not everyone can do that, right? Not everyone can like take a step back and be honest with themselves. And as a friend, family member, hopefully you have some people that will step in and kind of like be like, "Hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should go talk to someone because there's nothing wrong with seeking like professional advice."
Yep.
Um, at the time, my wife and kids were in Korea still, or they had just actually gotten back, but I was still in Charlotte. They were in Colombia. I was driving 80 something, almost 90 miles each way every day for 9, 10 months. Um, and I was going to burn out at that rate. And I finally went to see someone, and dude, it changed. Like I'm not gonna say that it happened overnight,
Of course not.
but as I started implementing all those things and just reminding myself that I can only do what I can do, and like not even if you do everything perfect, things might still not work out because that's just life. That's how
That's the way
life
life
is.
is. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once I realized to accept that we can control what we can control, and even then, like at the end of the day, the results are still not going to be what you expect them to be. Um, my outlook on life changed, not just recruiting, but just everything else that I do,
Yeah.
everything else. And I try to tell my kids and everyone else that like stop putting so much stress on yourself. Life is it's serious, but it's not that serious.
It's really not. Like one specific thing isn't the end all be all. It's just a
Yeah,
word in the chapter of your life. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And a word. It's actually like a word in the chapter in the book of your life.
yeah.
There's a
Look,
bunch
I'm
of.
gonna tell you right now that I'm seeing the likes and the reactions on Facebook, and I see a laughing face, and I know who the laughing face
It's Marlon, right?
it's Marlon.
It's
Every
fucking
time
Marlon,
Marlon's
right?
over here,
That's his only
I'm-
reaction,
I
bro.
don't even think he watches the podcast. I just think he sees the notification and he logs on just to put a
Fucking
smiley, like laughing my ass off face.
let's scroll up. We could be talking about the darkest shit, and
The
that's his
dark, we're
response.
talking about mental health right now, and this dude is like, I'm laughing my ass off right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
because
get
he's
some comments, Marlon. How about
yeah,
that?
for real. All right, that actually leads perfectly into our next little segment here, man. So I was telling you offline, talk about coworker anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Or worker anxiety, really. It doesn't have to really be a coworker because you could be the one suffering from anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I had let's say an experience, right, with a coworker, and I back in the day, let's put it that way, where that person would always show up and like get stressed out over everything and like just be like in a constant state of stress and anxiety. I was like, yo, man, you gotta calm down, bro. Like, not on some like I'm about to fight you shit, right? Because calm down could sound aggressive
Yeah, yeah.
and like a little bit intense. But I was like, look, man, like you can't worry about everything all the time. It's physically impossible, and you're gonna drive yourself fucking crazy. Like you gotta calm down. And like as I've gotten older, obviously, and especially with my relationship with my wife and us talking about different shit, like she's made me realize about the transference of energy. Where like
Yeah.
if you because you we're all energy, right? Like as human beings, that's what we are, atoms and yada yada yada. So or like when somebody's that intense and their energy is fucking up at a fucking 11 constantly, you affect those things around you, not just people,
Absolutely.
but I think you affect other things with energy. So things would like constantly break around, you know what I mean? Like things that like wouldn't break around anybody else would constantly break around that person or different shit. I was like, yo, and dude was like, hey man, like how do you keep yourself so calm? I was like, dude, I'm never that calm. Like I get fucking angry, I get stressed too, but like I don't live in a perpetual state of anxiety and stress. Like I'll get stressed when stressful things happen, and then I'm like, you know what I mean? I'll sweat, but like there's parts where like
That's
okay,
normal human reaction to stressful situations,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But like imagine like going into every situation stressful. Like imagine like every moment of your life is like a first blind date type of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's
Your
like
job interview that
yeah,
for this job you've been trying to get. Like,
exactly. Like, oh my god, they called. Like, you know what I mean? Like that anxiety. Like, oh my gosh, she does like that constant threat of anxiety. I was like, yo, man, that's too much, bro. I was like, something like there's different things I do. Like you listen to different kind of music. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to listen to like heavy metal fucking rock when you're in anxiety. Maybe
right.
or maybe you do. Like maybe whatever calms you down. But I was just like, yo, man, you just gotta like calm down and when I get stressed, shout out to the fact we got 5 viewers. When
Yeah,
I get
shut up.
stressed, you know what I mean? When I get stressed, I that's what I do. Like I start sweating, I start cursing. I lose a little bit of my bearing. You You know what I mean? But I'm like, you know what? This shit happens all the time. Unless it's like something that I already have a knowledge of that level of bullshit. You know what I mean? Then it's not as bad, right? But like if it's something like that catches me blindsided, then I'm like, oh fuck, all right, how do I handle this and process? And the processing of it happens. Sometimes I have like if I go to a new place that I hadn't been to before, I have anxiety. You know, it's just like the unknown. So I like to
Yeah,
be in control.
I it's crazy that as human beings we want to be in control. And look, I've had these conversations with I've had them with you. I've had them with other people where they're like, well, if you do this and you do that, like you can control the outcome. You just got to put in the work and do this and do that. And because people really think that that's how like life works
I know.
because they've gotten the lucky kind of, they've just gotten the lucky results, but it
Yes,
doesn't always work that way. And I've told my kids that I keep talking about my kids because obviously I'm a dad, and so
of course.
like I gotta and it's how I've always handled situations as well. And I tell them, hey, look, man, you can put in all the hard work, you can network or talk to all the right people, you can be, show up early, you can do everything that you're supposed to do,
Mhm.
and at the end of the day, that person might still beat you in that race, or they might get a better grade, or they might get
Get
the
the job.
slot, the job,
Mhm.
or the slot in the club that you're trying to get, or get into the school that you're trying to get, because that's just because the people making the decisions decide I like his energy a little better, I like the length of their hair, I like the color of their
Yes,
eyes, I like this particular answer they
just
gave
some
me.
random thing. Yeah,
We went to the same summer camp, ate whatever. Just there's things that you can't control that do everything you can, but at the end of the day, if something doesn't go your way, it doesn't mean that now you're like a failure somehow, you're defective, there's something wrong with you.
hmm
And man, I don't know, we're in a capitalistic society, a competitive society, and so
yes,
we're raised that way, right? I grew up playing team sports, and where team sports taught me to be competitive, one, I think it helped me with leadership and helped me be like just to be comfortable around other people, and to be able to speak my mind when I need to. It also uh I don't know, like some people, like the only thing that they take about team sports is the competitive side,
yes.
right? And so when they get to the corporate world or whatever, everything becomes cutthroat and they're just trying to outdo everyone else. But for whatever reason, people don't pull the other part that
Yep.
it's team sports. You're working as a team, as a unit. There's got to be cohesiveness and all this other like you got to be harmonious to accomplish that end goal that you want.
100%.
And man, I don't I just we're not professionals. I'm not a doctor. And again, what's worked for me might not work for, for
100%.
you or for your coworker in the past, or for my
We're not
kids.
giving we're not giving anybody advice on
Yeah.
this
I'm
in
not telling
this.
you to not go take or do go take a vaccine,
Right.
I'm just,
None,
but
none,
what we're saying,
none of that. We're just telling you our personal experiences of what it's been like for us and conversations we've had with friends and situations like that. That's
yeah,
all.
because the thing is, here's how it goes. Like I can tell you, I can be that person that says, look, put in the work, study, and prepare. And when you show up to that interview, you're gonna get the job.
Mhm.
Or and if you don't get it, it's your fault. I could because I've been that person that I've gotten the lucky role in life where like I've put in the work, I've done this, and I've landed the jobs, or I've had opportunities present themselves to me. But
That's hard work meaning preparation, though, right? That's not real
that's
luck.
that's 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 yeah, right. That's hard
Mhm.
work, preparation, and luck, all that stuff, like just meeting at the same time. And so, but there are the people that will say, no, there were no outside factors.
Yeah,
I got this because
I
I
did this
fucking
all on
earned this.
myself.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
this all by myself. And no
Never,
man, no person,
none,
no woman is an island, right? Even if we
nobody.
do all the hard work,
Ah,
at the end of the
caveat.
day, that interviewer is going to select whoever they feel deserves that job or
Yeah,
whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
100%. There's a caveat, though, right? The only person that's an island is that 21-year-old that's being given advice to. That's the
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only island.
Yeah,
That's
don't get a
specific.
vaccine. If you're healthy and you have a good diet and you exercise, well, why
That's
do you
it.
need a COVID
That's
vaccine?
clearly the requirements. But
Apparently.
yeah, dude, like
They're Revis is what we're saying.
exactly everybody's there, Reeves. It's weird, right? Like when you're younger, you look at like mental health and depression or anxiety like this thing, like, oh man, this is a weakness. Nah, man, that's a content of your character that makes you who you are as an individual. It
Absolutely.
shouldn't be looked at. Yeah, that sounded good. You ever have those moments when you say some good shit like, ah, damn, that was a good one. Just note that down. Somebody write that down and quote me. But but yeah, man, like it's look, because I've struggled with it, right? Like I try to be as open with it, and people say like, "Oh man, what are you talking about all this stuff?" I do because it's who I am. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sugarcoat or try to make it seem or project out to be somebody who I'm not. Like I'm a person
Mhm.
who struggles with depression, anxiety, never anything dark. Like I don't have ever suicidal
Suicidal
thoughts or anything.
thoughts.
Yeah, I don't ever think about stuff like that because I just it's not in my DNA. Like there's people and I have friends who have struggled with it in the past, and I have
Mhm.
family members who have struggled with it in the past, and I don't ever knock them for it. I was like, yo, man, like how can we help you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's only so many times you can ask and hope they listen and hope they're receptive to it. But you also have to remember that if they're not receptive, that's not on you. Like you're not responsible for how they receive things. Like
Mhm.
the way you hear things is different than the way I hear things, right? So
Right.
it's never anything as an indictment. Like, oh man, I should have tried one. Like, nah, man, like that person just didn't want to hear you, and that's okay. And it hurts if you lost that person or shit like that, or that person doesn't talk to you anymore. If they've you know what I mean completely should become a shut in. That's you did all you can possibly do. That's
Right.
it.
It's tough, man, because I've talked to people and
Want to give
I
a shout out
see it. Yeah, go
real
ahead.
quick. Want to give a shout out to my old. That's my yo. I want this is the guy that me and Ant were talking about that roasted that E5
Ah,
son. Like
yes.
yo, like that is still yo Mills yo. That is still the funniest shit I've ever personally witnessed in my life. Randomly, bro. When you roasted, I'm not gonna put his name out there, but you said, dude, only you gotta have 10 fingers to whoop my ass is the coldest shit ever.
Yo, man, but
Ever.
that dude, but he's missing two fingers, right? Like he's got to be ready for that. He's got to be ready for that
Hey,
type of insult. He's got
oh,
to have that comeback
son,
ready.
son, that's the coldest shit. All right,
Like
we
he
got
should have
time.
been like, I purposely lost these two fingers to beat your small ass.
Yeah.
Something,
I
something.
don't need all
I
10.
don't need them. Hell, I'll beat you with five.
All I need is one hand. All I
but
need is
but he let
oh,
he let that define him. He let that handicap define him.
oh man. Oh, okay.
Damn,
Oh
that's a
son.
hilarious story though.
Yeah, man. See, he remembers, yo. Yeah, man, he remembers. Yeah, that shit was too funny. That shit was so cold. But yeah, man, like look, as military veterans, right? Like you served overseas. I
Mhm.
was, you know, what I mean, I was hanging out in Hawaii, just keeping it a buck. And there's mental health issues that come with that, right? There's that like I should have gone over there, you know what I mean? And I should have served time in the sand and all this like that, almost like survivors guilt in a way,
Right,
right? And those that's something that I had to come to terms with. Like, look, that was it. Just wasn't my time to go over there. Like I literally had no control over that.
right.
Even when I volunteered, like, yo, I'll go. Yo, y'all need to eat too. Let me ride.
Yo, look, that reminds me of like the times where Mel had been in for some time and she hadn't deployed because of where she had been. They're
Right.
non-deployable areas, and she volunteered a couple times. I mean, she ended up deploying anyway,
Mhm.
and it was again on a volunteer basis when we got to Lewis McCord,
Right.
which you would have deployed from there regardless because you deployed from Lewis.
Mhm.
But she had to like she was at when we were at Jackson, she volunteered. When we were somewhere else, she volunteered, and like she goes through medical and she wasn't cleared at the time because of her knees or this or that, and then we find out she has to have surgery. So I guess it's a good thing she volunteered
Yeah.
because she needed to take care of herself first.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, and I get that because I lived it with her. I was like, look, you'll get your time. Like
Yeah.
we decided you're gonna put in 20 years. At that time, I was thinking I was gonna put in 20 years too, and then life just threw a curveball at
Yeah.
me.
Life has other
But
plans.
yeah. But I said you'll get there. Like you'll get your time. I get that people are like, oh, you're slick sleeve. You don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about, and
Yeah.
then obviously you have soldiers as an SEO, and so yeah, I get that feeling because I went through it a little bit, and then I made my six, and I made my six when I was recruiting. I made staff, and then we got to Lewis, and with less than a year after being in Lewis, we deployed, because I knew I was gonna get it. Like I'm not going out of my way to be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like we're all gonna get our chance, and we're
Yeah.
we're gonna get our chance multiple times.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for those 3 years I spent recruiting, I know I was gonna spend five years. And I had that time I had 9 years left in the military. I was gonna spend 4 or 5 years in deployments, back and forth, or training for deployments. So I
Right.
wasn't in a hurry to do it because I wasn't gonna get mine. But I was starting to feel that like, damn, I've been in for like a
Mhm.
minute now because I was supposed to leave Korea and go to Bragg. And I knew from Bragg I was going to deploy for sure. But the Army said, nah, we're sending you to recruiting school and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, 100%.
So at that point, like, how can I feel guilty? Like, you went to Korea, your first duty assignment, brand new to the Army, you don't know shit.
Yep.
Right? Or for me. And then I'm like, oh, I like it here. I'm going to extend. And then you realize after you're there for a while that people that have been in the Army for a while, they go to Korea and then they extend so that they don't deploy. So like, then you realize, I feel like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Because I'm like one of these people that's over here and extending just so they don't deploy. And again, nothing against those people because they've deployed 3-4 times and they're like, I need some stability to spend time with my family. Right. So I understand that too. And that shit wears on you. It's a different kind of like just stress on you. So it all relates to mental health a different way, right? Just like people that are actually overseas and you're in Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever you were in early on when the war kicked off.
Yep.
It's a different type of stress of what you're seeing overseas, or like I wouldn't call it stress. I mean, it was there, like just feeling guilty, like you said, survivor's guilt, right?
Yeah.
I have other friends that are deploying and I'm over here just like hanging out, enjoying Korea, etc. Even though I knew like I can't control it. Like even though I knew when I went back to the States, I was going to.
It's that part where like, oh man, I'm over here living life, and there's motherfuckers like dodging bullets or grenades or RPGs, and like what, like it's almost like when you take the oath and you wear the uniform and you throw on the boots and the hat and the beret, like it becomes this, like what right do I have to be here, and like when I should be right there with them, you know what I mean? Like, and who knows if I come back or not, right? Like it's who knows, but like it's like what right do I have to be at this club, or you know what I mean? Like just on the most simple shit, like going to this mall to buy an outfit to go out when there's people that are fucking going to sleep to bombs going off. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird fucking thing. But yeah, man, like mental health is just it's gonna be like it's gonna be a reoccurring theme because it's something that I feel like it always needs to be talked about. Because I think, right, I might be wrong. I think times are changing, but especially with the younger and younger generations, like mental health is nothing that should ever be like shamed or bullied into. Like, oh man, that's you on some weak shit. Nah, man, like there's things I need to work out and need to learn how to process. Because I need to know why I work the way I work. There's other people who are like, yo, man, that's fucked up that you did that. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like you have friends that are like, hey, this is something you should have done better. Like, there's something other people see that you can't clearly see, and then like you need somebody who without what was it that you said without like a self-serving.
It's like a disinterested third party, right?
Yeah,
an impartial third party, second set of eyes, call it whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that you need that outside set of eyes to look at the situation. Someone that's never been there and they can be impartial about it.
100%.
And you just can't do that. You can't and hope not all of us, like I said, are honest with ourselves enough to be like, I need help.
Right.
And that's fine. You know, whether someone tells you you got to do it, or you decide that you need to do it, like there's no weakness in seeking professional advice. Like these people are there regardless of what a lot of people think and they find it as a weakness. No, the weakness is continuing to do what you're doing, putting more stress on yourself, on those around you, and making the situation worse and not better. Like that's a weakness. The weakness is knowing there's a problem, and continuing to doing what you do.
That's insanity.
Getting the same results, right?
Yeah.
That is insanity. Like that's a weakness. And not that you know it, and you're not doing it because, oh, what are other people going to think about me? And then we go back to that. The name, what was the book again? Shit, I can't remember. And
Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like, who cares what other people are going to think? You're doing this for your own mental health. And if you have a family, you're doing it because if you're better, you're going to make life for them better. If you have people that you supervise, it's going to make the work environment better. If you have soldiers to lead, it's going to make your leadership that much more effective and their environment much more effective. And I mean, that's how you look at it. Like, it's, again, no man is an island. So all those things that you do, they have ripple effects on other people around you. Yeah.
It's important to get to know yourself better by, like you said, it's perfectly said, like by a disinterested third party.
Yeah.
Because there's things like when I go to therapy twice a month, right? And there's things that like I always have like a aha moment during therapy. It was like, okay, so that's why I react that way when this happens, or that's why I process things that way. You know what I mean? It's understanding the filter and the way you see things better, right? Because like until somebody tells you don't realize that like this one thing that happened one time when you were a kid factors into like how you view this or how important your childhood is with that, or how to deal with the survivor's guilt and stuff like that. But yeah,
Right.
man, look, we spent 25 minutes on this, so
Yeah.
we're all about mental health, and we don't ever and we'll never knock it. Speaking of mental health, John, I'm terrible at segues. I just kind of go right into the next thing.
Yeah.
You had some shit you had to get off your tiny baby chest, so let the people know. Which one you want to start with? First of all, I want to talk about the second one, the one that you just brought up today, late after. But I do want to hear about how you got fucking this crazy estimate you got
Today. Oh! You're talking about the pronouns.
Yeah.
Look, and by the way, that's the norm nowadays, right?
Yes, 100%.
So I'm not. I can't speak to what's happening, or the name of the show or whatever, because we're still like just in limbo waiting.
Yeah, don't say anything that could get your not. Yeah.
Yeah. But my son's we'll say his representative emails, and at the end of the email, they have their pronouns. Every email, and then I first noticed that a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, he works with artists, whatever, actors, singers. So, I guess that's part of the. Maybe that's part of their signature block for the agency, or be working with creatives, or just more, I don't know, more creative. Most creatives are more liberal, and then
they just gotta ask the question, right? Like it's
and so so one of the
you don't
things
want to offend anybody,
right. But so at the end of her signature block, she has her pronouns, okay. And one of the questions that was asked, and I don't think it was coming from her because we've been working with her for almost 2 years, and so it's probably coming from the directors people. Or whomever. Yeah. Like, oh, what's the availability? What's this? What's that? Oh, and what are his preferred pronouns? And I kind of did a like my neck. I still have a kink in my neck because I looked so hard to my right at my wife, like, huh? What? When she was reading that email to me, I said, what? Excuse me? His preferred pronouns. And I started to make a joke, and I was like, you know what? And I know I think I did make the joke. I don't even remember what it was. But the point is, like, she knows his preferred pronouns because we've been working with her for a while. But I think the people that she's communicating with wanted to know, because that's the kind of environment we're in, right? That no one wants to offend anyone. And at this stage, she's dealing with like these, we'll call it higher headquarters. She's dealing with bigger enterprises and people in power that definitely don't want to offend anyone. And so the politically correct thing would be to like find out what someone's preferred pronouns were, or even if it my son, he's a boy, he's a male. He him, he could be, and those are his preferred pronouns.
Yeah.
It might be something else. They don't know him, and it's not in his resume or his profile anywhere. So they had to ask. I found it funny. It's not like something I'm upset about or a rant.
Right.
I just found it interesting. I'm like,
because it's a word.
I'm like, those are the times we live in. Like, it's a weird thing because, like,
it's a question we've never been asked.
Look at me. What do you think my preferred pronouns are? No, don't do it.
Don't leave that open, sir.
Look,
don't leave that open.
I'm gonna call you ogre. Don't do it.
Shrek ogre is my. But look, I was watching. So that show I've been watching, One Day at a Time, right? One of the actresses in it, is gay, right? And she prefers she her. I believe is her. I'm not. I apologize if I'm getting those. So because she's she comes out, she her. She comes out to her family, and it's like they'll text them like heavy shit. I'm a big fan of the show, but then it's like it's weird. It's something to watch because like we never saw those shows before, right? Like,
did you respond to your homeboy?
No, I didn't because you were in the
middle. We got caught up in mental health.
Yeah. Yo, shout out to my boy Mills, man. Yeah, I'm good, fam. I'm good. But yeah, it's weird because it's strange to see. It's not weird because it's not like it's strange to see it happening like right in front of our eyes, like seeing history happen.
Yeah,
where like for so long it took so long to get these things done, right? Like it took hundreds of years to let women vote. You know what I mean? Like hundreds upon hundreds of years to let black people vote. You know what I mean? Like all these things are like things are happening at such a fast rate because younger generations like, yeah, man, who cares? Like it literally doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? Like the question is asked, and I'm assuming you have to like ask your son right? But like these are conversations that have never had to be had before. So
Yeah.
it's wild in that sense where like it's so brand new, it's wild, but it's also understandable because like it for people who have a problem with it, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't care what pronouns, and I'm not saying like I don't care. Like I'm gonna still call you the two genders that you know what I'm saying we grew up on. It's
Right.
like I don't care. It was like yeah, you could. Who gives a fuck? Like call yourself whatever you want. Like do it? Like own your fucking own your truth. I'm all for that shit. Like I like if it's he him they them and all the pronouns that you can think of, which I don't know them all, so I'm not just gonna like rattle off some wild shit. And yeah, bro, like I'm cool with it. Like it doesn't affect me at any point whatsoever, motherfucking ever. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
No, I mean, and we started this like just kind of laughing about it, but I've had the conversation with both my kids. Like, hey, by the way, all seriousness, like if you feel like obviously you're born a male, you have male genitalia. If you don't
Yeah,
feel like you're like, don't pretend to be someone you're not.
yeah,
Whether it's that like you're a boy but you don't feel like a boy, or you're a boy but you like other boys. Like I, you know, I don't think most parents or most fathers will say, even mothers, but most
yeah,
fathers for sure would be like, you better not. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
even if it's
yeah,
what I
no,
think you're about to tell me, just don't. Let's just
yeah,
not talk. You graduate and get the hell out of my house when you're 18.
yeah,
But I've had that conversation with my kids, like, and not because just because that's who I am. Like, I'm not. I don't want them to pretend to be someone that they're not.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
they're already going to have to do that in school and in society. If that's who it was, if they're boys but they felt like they're girls, or they like other boys, they know that society still doesn't accept that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
They're gonna have
so they're
enough
gonna have to
enough. Yeah,
enough to worry about, enough to hide, enough to whatever. So I was like, hey, look, if that's who you are, if that's how you feel, like, you need to have someone to. If you can't trust in your parents, if me as your dad, I don't have your back.
yeah,
Then who can you trust? And I have your back no matter what, no matter
100%,
what.
hundred
And
percent.
so, unfortunately, some parents don't have that because obviously there's still the stigma and there's still the religious
Yeah,
beliefs about it.
the propaganda behind it, even
Yeah,
though the Pope says, yeah, God loves everybody, and
yeah. And then my kids will like punch me in the arm and be like, "Dude, what are you talking?" Just like, I'm good,
yeah,
but I'm like, all right, but
seriously, yeah,
I'm glad that you're good. And
yeah,
then if you feel a different way at some point, then guess what? You're still good with me. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'm here
100%.
to support you. So that's how a lot of kids develop that. We're going back to mental health and mental issues,
Yes.
right? Like, just mental health issues,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have that support at home, and
Yep.
then it leads to other paths in life and drugs, and like
Drugs
not
and
just drugs to
suicide.
like not drugs to like not that I'm condoning drugs, but we got people just experimenting with DMT just because, like, we'll say Rogan, he just
Yeah.
wants to fuck around with DMT. But
Yep.
I'm talking about like people have become addicted to drugs to escape
Mm-hmm.
reality and escape the fact that they don't have a support group and all that stuff. And I don't know. I don't know what led me to be that way. Maybe it's probably circumstances in life, probably things I've been through,
I think it's
and
exposure though.
and seen people be treated a certain way.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
yeah,
I think it's exposure. A lot for if you have a close group of friends and limited exposure to a bunch of people, it's easier to make your decisions based off what's shown or told to you, right?
right.
Like uh, I served with many like clearly openly gay people, right? Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
there's no if, ands, or buts about it. And I was all right. And then I have family who's in the community, right? So
Mhm.
when it goes, oh, okay, yeah, just a regular fucking person, like literally nothing different, like
Right.
same great human being, nothing different about them. Just they don't conform to what you think is what they should
It's
be doing.
normal, right?
Yeah. So
What you think
fuck
is normal.
yeah, fuck your normal. First and foremost, right? Your normal leads to a lot of dark shit. How about but you don't want to talk about your normal. Um, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
I don't like if look, I don't have a kids, right? What so I can't speak on like what would but I don't care. Like I yeah, 100. Like somebody fucks with my kid, I'm gonna fuck him up. You know what I mean? Whatever pronouns they choose is who I'm going to support because that's still my kid. It should you know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It's fucking weird, bro. But yeah,
But
like
yeah,
that
so
question
that was the whole
back
pronoun.
yeah,
The
that
question.
question is that question is wild because I've never heard anybody be asked it before. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
that's like a new thing that they ask for interviews either. Like
I don't know. I don't know where I heard it asked, or there was a discussion a couple months ago maybe where they were like, someone asked me about my preferred pronouns, and I don't know if it was a podcast I saw or listened to or some. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was even some people I was talking to at work over a call.
mhm.
But they were discussing that very same thing, that they were asked for the very first time, like what their preferred pronouns were, and they weren't bothered by it. They were just kind of shocked. They're like, you know what, we see all, we know what's going on, right? We're living in the times we're living in, but
Yeah.
that's the first time that I was asked that, and I didn't know how to
Like
feel
what do
about it.
you yeah.
Like I didn't know how to react. I didn't feel negative about it. It was strange to be asked that question because that person as a straight male was like, he him, like that. What
Yeah.
else would it be? I didn't he they didn't feel the need for that question to be asked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought I
There's
found it funny, and I was shocked that I was joking with Mel about it. I was like,
Listen,
oh,
I'll
after
be
all this
honest.
time.
There's still some stuff that I'm ignorant to. Like I don't
Yeah,
know some of the references. Like I don't know what cis means, CIS. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like because I haven't taken the time to educate myself on it.
that's what
Because
you are.
also is it cisgender, right? Like that's what
Cisgender. Yeah,
cisgendered. Yeah.
we are.
Like I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. Don't know what that means. If I'm being honest, like I'm just being like that's why there's like no edits and no like I'm telling you, I'm honest with my own ignorance about that shit. Don't know what it means. Don't know the reference. If somebody asks me, is that what I'm supposed to say? No idea. But you know what I mean? Like it's something that again goes back. I guess like this is like a mental health fucking podcast right here that we ended up.
Listen, man, I can't. I'm gonna cut you off right now. We're gonna we hit the
Yeah.
mental health. We hit the pronoun question.
My boy Mill said, do we take on this? Nah, man. Look, we'll
Hey,
schedule
look,
you.
you can give him the link, and he can hop on with us.
Yeah, that's true. All right, hold on. This is some live ass shit. Let me see.
But
No.
I want to talk about these
Oh,
companies that are coming out here giving me estimates. All right, look, I don't know if you've ever had to do a bathroom. It's just a tub and the tub wall kit. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot, that costs anywhere from $600 to $1,000, $600 to $1,000 for the
yeah,
tub. It's
yeah,
all like acrylic or whatever it's made out of. You pop them in, they probably last 10, 15 years. You got to replace them again. So I had a company about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when we had done the bathrooms and everything else. They were like doing door to door knocking and shit. Um, they were bothering me. I said, all right, I'll take your card. My wife's out of town. I don't make any decisions in this house. I'll just wait till she comes back from vacation, and then we'll
right.
schedule an appointment. And so she gets back. We schedule the appointment. They walk through everything. I had some things in mind. They're like, no, we don't use anything. We use our own proprietary stuff. We don't use anything that you buy from a third party vendor. I'm like, okay. So they start going through the list, and they have the whole suitcase, that big ass suitcase that you think they're carrying. No, they have all the samples in there, right? Their binders and all this shit. They're showing
Yep.
me the different samples, the different size, the tile patterns, the fucking grab bars for like handicapped people or older people that they would put in,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of shit. They brush nickel, all the patterns, everything. And then they're like, okay, so you want this, you want that. We went through all the options. It's like, all right, you guys can take a minute. I'm gonna pop this into the iPad, and then we're gonna come up with a number for you.
Okay.
This was a couple of years ago. Look, this motherfucker gave us a $13,000 price tag.
What for a fitter?
$13K for a tub and the fucking 3 walls. All right.
What?
Right. And so during the presentation,
wait.
they tell us, yeah, hold on.
Okay, I have one question.
Go ahead.
So this is because we were talking about bath fitters and stuff earlier, right? So this is for a full rental of a bathroom, or just
listen,
okay.
Tub and the 3 walls. That's it. That bathroom. I'm gonna tell you that our master bathroom. I don't know if I sent you the photos. I probably posted them on Facebook 3 years ago, but I may have sent them to you. Our master bathroom got redone gutted the entire thing out, put in a walk-in closet.
Right.
We have a freestanding tub, standalone shower with the glass, custom-made glass, all that shit, retiled, new vanities, everything brand new. Plus, we added some tiles to the other bathroom, new vanities, new mirrors. The only thing we didn't replace in that second bathroom was the tub insert and the
Right.
walls, right? That little
Okay.
kit.
Got you.
All right. That was about 16, 17 grand, maybe for everything, for all the fixtures, all the labor for one bathroom and the second bathroom, almost the entire second bathroom. This motherfucker wants to charge me 13 grand for a tub insert. 13 grand. During the presentation, he told me, and I don't know what company it was, and not that we need to put them out there. And this was the one from 2 years ago, that some of the materials they use were created by NASA. Like, oh yeah, this is used by NASA for this. And I'm like, am I going to the fucking moon, dude? Like, when am I going to Mars? Why do I need a fuck? What? Do I look like Elon Musk to you?
Well,
no, dude.
Wait,
no.
the hair transplant? After the hair transplant? A little bit.
A little bit.
You're not billion Musk, but
not billion
you
Musk.
You like 10,000. You like $10,000 Muskie.
$10,000. Jesus.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Danny, man, tuning in. Obviously, not at home at a hotel, so got real internet out here in these streets.
Hey, Danny, can you tell him I've been on it to move out? I've been telling him to leave the boondocks, leave the boonies, leave the chickens, leave the chupacabras, and move back closer to the city and get some clear ass internet.
Yeah, this is what it should be. I know. I'm
gonna start hitting up Melanie. I'm gonna be like, hey, look, are you watching this right now? Are you watching this right now?
Good luck. All right, man. Get back to your fucking $17,000 toilet.
$17,000 was for the good rental for an entire bathroom and a half and a brand new walk-in closet.
Right.
This dude wanted 13 grand for a tub insert. Needless to say, 2 years ago, but we didn't.
It's a cover. It's a fucking cover, right? Like it's a cover.
It's acrylic. Like look, like I said, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you'll see they have the tub and then they have the walls, the little 3 walls separately. Like one's 500, one's 200, $700. Mm-hmm. You want to go upscale, maybe you're paying $1,000.
Right.
So I did the home advisor thing, and it's like anywhere from, for this area, anywhere from 1,800 to like 4,000, materials, labor, whatever, for that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. So anyway, we're like, we just did a bunch of projects, whatever, and we're not paying $13,000 for a fucking tub insert.
Fuck no.
So we went to Home Depot again. We're like, okay, it's time to do this bathroom. Let's do it. This was last weekend or 2 weeks ago. And they're like, well, we only have one third-party vendor that installs our stuff. Because we found one that we liked. We're like, okay, we need a contractor. So he gave us the number of the company. Company comes out here. They came out here yesterday. And then they start telling us, oh, no, we don't use Home Depot stuff. I'm like, you just told me you're a partner with Home Depot.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. I said, okay. So I found this bathtub and this wall insert that I want. So you guys just need to go up there and take measurements and tell me what the labor is going to be, right? Yeah. I already got the materials. No, we don't do that. We use our own stuff.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, you're one of those. I was like, look, man, there's some misunderstanding. That's not what we already know what we want. But of course, we let him go through his whole speech. He's a salesman, whatever. I'm like, all right, dude, like you're going to be disappointed because you're going to spend 45 minutes with us and you're going to come out with no commission.
You like wasting people's time though with that.
Yeah, I do, because I told him up front what we wanted and he wanted to continue to pursue. And look, I went through the same training as an Army recruiter. You're taught to overcome obstacles. That's what you do. Yep. Like we received sales training. I went to recruiting school for 6 or 7 weeks, 7 hours a day. It's all sales training, but they changed the terms to fit Army terminology, right? Like a prospect becomes an applicant because someone's not a prospect. You're not, you got to humanize whoever you're trying to start the Army to.
It's not Sons of Anarchy. So,
but it's all fucking sales. Yeah, but it's all fucking sales. And so I'm like, okay, all right, you keep overcoming these obstacles. I'm going to throw these motherfucking obstacles at you, though. And but I told him at the end, I was like, hey, look, man, this is not what we're looking to do. I want to, you have your own proprietary stuff. It's unfortunately, you don't install other things. And that's not what your salespeople told us. Or that's not what Home Depot told us. He's like, no, but you're going to love this. I'm like, all right, man, I'm not going to throw any more obstacles. I'm just going to let you speak. I might ask some questions like, tell me more about this. Tell me more about that. I'm going to keep you here as long as possible. Waste all your fucking time since you didn't get the hint at the beginning.
Yep.
And then we're just going to be like, we're going to think about it. But I still don't want to go with you because this is not what I wanted in the first place. Like I told you an hour and a half ago.
You got fucking, what is it? You got hoodwinked. You got honey dicked. You got bamboozled.
Bamboozled. No, I didn't. He did, because when he realized, like, because he didn't want to take the hint. So I'm like, all right, now you thought you were gonna bamboozle me. Nah, I got you now, motherfucker.
Yeah,
and so
fucking
he
right.
comes up here. Look, their shit is not made by NASA, not made for NASA, not made to go to Mars. All right, he's not working for SpaceX, but they do have some super awesome fucking backing. They don't use liquid nails like most of these. He was on the verge of calling other contractors shitty. Essentially, he was just shit talking other people. He's like, oh, these people that put these plastic inserts in, blah 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 blah. They don't last very long. These are meant to last 10 to 15 years, and then they start to fade, and then they start to leak. I'm like, dude, I was like, are you not listening to yourself? We told you we're planning on staying in the house for 6 more years. And you're telling me what I already know, that the shitty inserts, quote unquote, only last 10 to 15. It's more than what I need, son. Why are you trying to sell me your product that's going to live forever when I'm only keeping the house for 6 more years?
Yeah, who gives a fuck what the next owner does? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, so their big selling point was that the adhesive is not like liquid nails, where like you put it on, then you stick the wall to it or whatever it is that you're going to stick to the wall, and it's, it sticks. Liquid nails works, but it's not very flexible. So when it gets hot or cold, like, it's not going to contract or expand. It just cracks, right? Mm-hmm. Being in Ohio, we have like extreme temperature changes. It gets into the 90s here during the summer, and it gets into single digits or negatives in the winter. And so that's going to affect like those adhesives on the wall or whatever. I'm like, okay, I get it. He's like, so this super revolutionary fucking adhesive that we have to mount wall fucking bathtub kids expands. Look, we put it in, it expands, and then during the winter it has some give. In the summer it expands with your house as it moves.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I haven't had a fucking bathtub fall apart on me because it's summer. It went from winter to spring to summer. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's an interior wall. It's an interior wall. The fucking house stays a constant temperature. What are we fucking talking about here?
And it's not even like an interior wall. It's an interior wall of an interior wall of an interior wall.
Exactly. We're not going without a furnace or AC. Like, there is a constant temperature in this fucking house year round. That shit is where. Please. But whatever. That's what he tried to sell me. That was his fucking big selling point. And the thing is, look, as everyone knows, essentially, I have a wife, right? I have a general contractor for a wife. I have a general contractor for a wife.
Say it like that. Don't say
I was
essentially.
I have a wife. I was going to say I have a wife who's a general contractor, but essentially, I have a contractor for a wife, right?
Yes,
like, that's what she's a general contractor.
That sounds better.
I mean, he walked in. And I was gonna take the meeting for half an hour, but then I had to jump on a call for work at 2:30. And so he walked in, and we had our fucking back door off the hinges because she had another project going on. He walked in and saw that, and then he went upstairs to the bathroom, and she was telling him as we're walking upstairs, like, oh, these stairs right here, we tore them all down. Or actually, she said I tore them all down.
Yeah,
and then we put, I did help. I helped to tear down. And then she did the rest of the work.
Did you though?
I kind of did, about 25%.
Okay, that's very little.
She's telling him all this shit, like, oh yeah, we tore this down. We replaced it with wrought iron bars.
Gotcha.
And then he has to go to the basement to check the plumbing because they might replace the plumbing if they do work with us. And then as we're going to the basement, he sees the room that I'm in right now, barn door, everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, we put that up too. And so, like, as he's walking, before he starts to give us this all happens before
the spiel,
spiel. Like, I don't know if in his mind he's like, there's no way they're gonna pay fucking the amount of money I'm gonna quote him at the end of this fucking spiel, because they're already doing shit on their own. Like, they should, he should have known better. He should have read the room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
no,
100%.
He goes back, gives us a spiel. I stopped throwing obstacles at him. Instead, I just asked questions to waste his time. And then he gives us $12,000 or something like that. And he goes, no, I can bring it, or $11,000. I can bring it down to 10 something. He said, but I can even save you some more money if you decide by tomorrow, because I think on Tuesdays and Fridays they give out their discounts. If you decide by tomorrow, I can bring it down to 9,500 something. And so, obviously it's just pressure, sales tactics, right? And I was like, look, man, there's obviously some miscommunication. Like at the beginning of this, I told you this is not
No,
what
there
we're
wasn't.
looking for.
There wasn't a
No,
miscommunication.
right.
There was a
But
clear communication. You
there's
just
clear communication,
refused to.
and then
Yeah,
he just was refusing to take the information being thrown his way.
yeah,
But that's fine. So I was like, hey, I told you this is not what we were looking for. But you sounded like you had an interesting product, and you want to tell us. But I'm not gonna make a decision today. Like
yeah. We
I've never in
appreciate
my
you trying.
life, I've never in my life made a decision on the spot about something where I have days and weeks and months to make a decision. I mean, I just told you that we had a contractor here, and I told him that story too. We had a guy that does the same thing you guys do. They have their own proprietary product, and something's made by NASA, and it's awesome and it's great, and they quoted 17 grand, and that was 2 years ago. And you obviously we didn't put a new bathroom in. So what makes you think that I'm gonna make a decision right now to save $500 on something that's gonna be $6,000 overpriced anyway?
Yeah. Hey man, this is
11 grand for a fucking bathtub. Are you kidding me?
I know, John. I feel like you showed a lot of passion there. I'm gonna have to switch laptops because this laptop isn't charging. So this is the end of the. Yeah.
What is that? Oh, yeah. We got some comments here.
Do we? We'll have to.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just Danny. It was just Danny.
yeah.
All right,
Just
guys.
Danny.
Yeah, it was just Danny. Fuck Danny. Fuck the 6 borough.
Jesus.
How about that? So that was a little
Oh,
aggressive.
damn.
He's always on me about the internet, though. We're gonna come right back with episode 183 with a brand new laptop because this one has not been charging for whatever fucking reason. I'm trying to troubleshoot as you're telling me your rant. But yeah, man, let's keep that same energy. And this will be our outro again, produced by the legendary Ant House Beats. Catch you guys next time, man. Peace.
Peace.